Let's talk about relationships. More exactly, expectations within relationships, and I do mean romantic relationships. First of all, we need to understand how relationships function. What are the types of relationships from a spiritual perspective? And then understand why there are expectations, how can we meet them, and even more important, do we have to meet those expectations? And how can we harmonize those relationships, romantic relationships? Hello, I'm Vlad from ReikiScoop.com, and in this video, we will talk a little bit about understanding the whole concept of relationships from a spiritual and energetic perspective, from a karmic perspective, and also understanding the reason behind expectations and how we can conquer our fears, understand how we can properly engage emotionally and beneficially within a romantic relationship so that we can create harmony and balance. Again, from a spiritual and energetic perspective. There are two types of relationships from a spiritual perspective, the ones that are karmic based and the ones that are not karmic based. What does this mean? Well, in order to understand everything, this is the first part that we engage in. The karmic connections, karmic relationships are based on elements that were not yet healed or balanced out from previous existences, whether it was in the physical, material plane or in a spiritual plane without needing a physical body, because spirits interact in all realms, not only in the physical one. The physical realm is a young realm, a young level of spirituality, let's say. But there are many other levels, spiritual levels, unseen levels that are much, much older than we can comprehend. And in those levels, there's a very strong chance that you've met other spirits with whom you have formed connections. And we understand them in the physical plane as romantic connections. In those planes, we're also romantic, but in a different way of interacting. Furthermore, if you both had incarnations and you created a connection, and there were things that were left unbalanced, unhealed, unattended, the more imbalances, the more elements that need to be healed and balanced out will begin to surface, will be present in this life. So if you meet someone and you engage in a romantic relationship, someone that you had connections in the past, especially if the connection was also physical in the material plane, then you basically kind of have no choice but to enter that relationship and balance things out. This sounds a little bit harsh. I will get in a minute to the idea if you can avoid it or not. Usually, these connections are a little bit, I dare say, mindlessly, like love is blind. You don't even realize what's going on and you are in that relationship. And usually everything, starts pretty well and continues to be pretty well. There are a few differences. While some other connections, even if they're karmic, they turn into toxicity. They turn into huge expectations, from small expectations to huge expectations from one another. And that's where imbalances and more karmic debts begin to show up and form, and you go even deeper down the rabbit hole. Can you avoid such a relationship? Well, yes and no. In order to avoid such a connection, you need to simplify that connection with certain spiritual practices, in a sense that you need to dissolve. It's not exactly dissolving, it's balancing out your karmic debts through other ways, helping others, fasting, praying, pilgrimages, anything that balances karmic debts. In that way, even if you still enter the relationship that's karmic based and could be toxic, the time spent will be less. The elements that need healing will become less and more easier to handle. So avoiding it completely, to be honest, I'm not sure if it's possible, but there is a chance that you can shorten the time and make it easier for yourself and for your partner. But coming back to the idea of a karmic relationships, why do expectations begin to form? Because of, in one word, unhappiness, frustration. That's two words. it's a complex subject, but that's the fundamental reason why expectations or big expectations or unrealistic expectations come to surface, because of childhood traumas, because of past life traumas, because of traumas from present life. When these happen, and these are traumas, when I say traumas, I don't mean necessarily huge suffering, just things that are not fulfilling you and you desire them and you are unable to go into the direction of bringing them into your life. And those create those uncertainties, those actions that cannot be fulfilled create frustrations and therefore create imbalances. And therefore they create expectations from others, which translates in I'm not able to fulfill something towards myself, and I'm projecting my frustrations and my expectations on someone close to me, and who's closer to me in my life in this moment than my partner. And there are also expectations which are common sense based. But these, if are not met, then a relationship, it has quite a difficult time of functioning in the first place. When I say common sense expectations, I'm talking about communication, creating harmony, having responsibility towards one another, trying to offer love, to offer empathy, affection, to listen to your partner. These are normal expectations that are the quintessential elements, are the foundation of any connection, romantic or not. So if we're talking about those things, these are not conditions that you add in a hard way. These are just common sense elements that need to exist in order for two people to have a romantic relationship, right? When I talk about the different types of expectations, they are related to many elements, from financial issues, providing, to emotional support, to offering certain values in life, that perhaps it's okay that you desire those things, but the problem sometimes, most of the times, resides within us. Are we able to offer those things, first of all, to us and to our partners, and then expect them to do the same? Expecting, basically what I'm trying to say, expecting large elements, large things that can improve your life from others is an unrealistic thing until we do it for ourselves, until we are able to offer ourselves the comfort and the affection and the love that we expect from others. How can you expect to be loved if you have difficulty loving yourself in a true sense, forgiving yourself, understanding yourself, accepting yourself, and offering compassion to yourself? And I don't mean that in a narcissistic way. I do mean it in a harmonious, balanced, normal, and natural way. So if you don't have those elements, but you expect them from your partner, you know what's going to happen. You're always going to be unsatisfied. There's always going to be room for more. You'll always desire more, because those expectations, even if they were met to some extent, you will always be unhappy. You always want more. You always need more. You feel like you need more. You don't really need more, but you feel like you need more. So to summarize, those kind of expectations are formed from the unwillingness and inability to offer to yourself certain things. To, first of all, the basic needs, to love yourself, forgive yourself, understand yourself, offer compassion to yourself. When you are able to do that, you will see that entering a healthy state and balanced state, emotionally and mentally and energetically, you won't have so many expectations. That's the interesting part. When you offer yourself the normal, basic, natural elements that form a connection with yourself in the first place, your expectations, your so-called needs diminish considerably, because you expect, oh, I feel good within my own skin, I feel good in my life, I feel good within my body. I love my body and I love myself, again, in a balanced and normal and natural way. So, what I'm expecting in a relationship, or desiring, is to a person that does pretty much the same with themselves, or at least is in the process of doing that. Or perhaps I can awaken that interest in that person, and we form a balanced and harmonious connection. And all those expectations that were related more to the material plane let's be honest, most of us have that, kind of fade away because we know that we are able to function and offer to ourselves those elements that we were expecting from our partners. Now, I know that things are not that simple, and our partners also need to engage in that form of awareness. And you would be right. That's why I'm saying, when you enter that healing phase, that balanced phase, what happens is that not only your expectations, those material-related expectations, kind of fade away and they don't mean anything to you, but you also change your vibration and resonance. And in that moment, you attract, even if it's karmic-based, the person or people that are in tune with your frequency, in tune with your actions, in tune with the process of healing, the process of changing themselves towards a better self. So I know it's easy to say that expectations are formed from frustrations or from the need to be provided with certain elements, from emotional support to financial support or to other elements. However, when you are a bit self-sufficient, this is a controversial idea, self-sufficient. What I mean is that you are able to provide yourself again with those spiritual and emotional values, divine values, if you wish to call them. I'm not talking about, perhaps you're not able to have a workplace, to work in a place that offers you a huge amount of money compared to your partner, and you find it normal, and that's okay. That's pretty much okay, because maybe you are not able to do what they do, and you don't have the skills that they do, or vice versa. That's okay. But that doesn't mean that you cannot offer, once you offer yourself all those basic elements, as I mentioned, the compassion, the forgiveness, the acceptance, your resonance changes and you attract the people that are in that frequency. Still, karmic relationships also have their many caveats, like perhaps the partner is not embracing that kind of change so easily. And quarrels, arguments can appear. At one point, if one of the partners is in the process of evolution and healing, that karmic depth, that karmic imbalance, elements that need healing will kind of not dissolve, but they will be met. Those demands, karmic demands, will be met to a point in which if the other person refuses to go, let's say, up the ladder, up the spiritual ladder, to, in a sense of healing themselves. I'm not talking about becoming levitating or becoming better than other people. I'm talking about taking care of themselves emotionally and spiritually. If they don't want to do that, what happens is things will lead to breaking up. And then the karmic debt is pretty much settled. If there are smaller elements there, they can be transformed into pure energy using Reiki symbols. They can be transmuted through meditation or other holistic practices. Chances are that if you are watching this video, it means that you are in the process, or desire at least to be in the process of healing and accepting and evolving from a spiritual perspective. But make no mistake, the fact that you are engaged in this doesn't make you necessarily better than others. It just makes you more aware of what's happening, so that you can interact with the right, optimum, beneficial elements, people, and events and situations in your life. Then there's the not karmic-based relationships, the non-karmic based relationships. Well, those relationships can form karmic debts or can be exceptionally good from a spiritual perspective, because there's nothing to be balanced out in the first place. If both partners, especially if both partners are desiring to evolve, to heal themselves, and to empathize and to understand their partners and themselves within the relationship, within the romantic relationship, then you have, as they say, a match made in heaven. It's something that you don't find every day, I know, or you don't see every day. I hope that more and more people will be engaged in such connections, if that's right for the greater good, by all means, of course. Again, this might be rare. There's not much to say about this, but usually these kind of connections are twin flames or soulmates. There is a difference between the two elements, and perhaps I can talk about those in another video. But usually the non-karmic based connections, not all of them, but usually are the twin flames, the ones that support each other, going in a going like in a pyramid, ascending from the base up, reaching the tip, and together they form a perfect sphere of light and love. It can happen that one of the partners doesn't wish to engage in healing and emotional understanding and perhaps not evolving from a spiritual perspective. Still, if they don't have any kind of karmic debts, it's a whole lot easier to go through such a relationship, to engage in it, and to understand your partner, and they understanding you, than it is with a karmic-based relationship. And expectations, because that was the original idea I started with, in a non-karmic relationship are, well, almost non-existent. The expectations are met pretty fast. They are not exaggerated from the first place. They're not exaggerated, and the ones that the expectations that do exist from both partners are met quite easily without too much effort. That's the general view. This doesn't mean that there aren't exceptions. I have met couples that are twin flames and expectations were met, again, quite easy. There was little to no quarrels. There was nothing that was going on stressful in their lives. Doesn't mean that twin flames will remain their entire life together. Usually they do, but again, there are exceptions. Karmic-based relationships rarely remain together until the end of life. They usually need a lot of elements to continue after the karmic debt has been balanced out. There is a chance that the karmic-based relationships continue after that mission has kind of finished, or that those elements have been balanced out. There's a chance that both of you, or one of you, if you are aware of this situation, can choose to stay and start a new mission, a spiritual mission with that person. That's an interesting idea that can be done. And obviously you surpass limitations from that moment. Again, expectations are met easier because those elements the karmic elements were not dissolved. I want to say dissolved, but it's not exactly dissolved. They are transformed. They are paid off. They are balanced out. They are healed. So there's not much left to stress about, and things come a lot more easier. This is a choice that people can have. Remain in the relationship that was once karmic based and things have been healed. You can choose to stay, or you can choose to not stay and see what the future offers. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. And if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that other Reiki enthusiasts or Reiki practitioners can find videos such as this and can be perhaps inspired or find new ideas to evolve, to grow, and to better understand life and better to understand themselves and themselves in connections to others. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it made sense for you. Please leave some comments if there's something that you wish to know or understand better, or perhaps maybe you don't agree with all those elements, and that's fine. Perhaps you have a different experience. I'm interested in your opinion. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Blessings to you.